Is Adam with us? Adam Armstrong? Can you hear me? Oh, he is. He is. Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. Pleasure meeting you, Adam. And can you tell us where you are?
Well, exactly. I'm in the spare room of our apartment, at the back of our apartment in beautiful sunny Geneva, in Switzerland.
Okay. Oh, we're in the same. We're in the same time zone. We're in the same time zone. Okay, that's great. That's great. I'm just a bit further north in Germany. In northern Germany. Great. Perfect. Welcome, Adam Armstrong. You're with Contiki Holidays. Can you tell us a little bit about your company and what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah, Contiki. If you haven't heard about us, we are a youth touring company founded about 60 years ago. So we specialize in tours or trips, as we call them, for 18 to 35-year-olds exclusively. So once you hit 36, you move on to another brand. And we're part of a large travel company called the Travel Corporation. You might know our other brands: Trafalgar, Insight, Uniworld, River Cruises, and AAT Kings. Some of our other big brands.
Oh, great. Well, I'm going to share, before I ask you something, I'm going to share a joke with you, or not a joke, but actually it's a true story. I am originally from Serbia, from ex-Yugoslavia. And the company that revolutionized travel in that small country, it's a very small market, very small country, that has gone through difficult times in the 1990s. And then when there were visa requirements for citizens, so it was really difficult to travel. And one of the first companies that opened up the country to tourism, to tours in very exotic and far places, was called Contiki tourism. And I think that's not yours. It is not part of your group, because I do know the owner. And it was something really, really excited. And he took a camera with him and filmed everything, filmed all the tours, and made a TV program. So for about 20 years, there was a TV program, Contiki Travel, and we all grew up with it and had our travel experience with them. So Contiki Travel is very familiar to me. I hear there are problems with my sound, so let me switch off. And Bruce, why don't you share? Adam, why don't you share your thoughts with us about what's going on in the travel industry?
Sure, absolutely, Alex. So I was asked to talk to you today a little bit about customer preferences and what have they been historically and what do they look like today and going into the future. So customer preferences, customers, they're a broad church, a big wide spectrum of people, but I'll make some generalizations, and perhaps if we start historically, let's go back 50, 60, 70 years and what customers look like then versus today. So what are they looking for? What's their sort of preferences? Back in the silent generation post-war, they're just looking for a safe, reliable, not too in-depth tourism experience, not looking to taste it and smell it too much. Just want to look at it, take a few photos, and go back home. And Bruce brought up cruising, and cruising. An analogy for the silent generation was, you go on a cruise, you'd rock up, you dock in port, get off the ship for a city highlights tour on a coach, take a few photos, and be back on the ship for lunch. Didn't really want to test out the food where you called. You wanted the safety and comfort of your cruise ship restaurant. So that's where we started from, and modern tourism all the way through boomers who just wanted to do more. They wanted to taste it and touch it, and not inappropriately, of course. And they wanted to get off the coach, get off the ship, and enjoy it a little bit more. And now today you got whatever you call them, who are getting even more under the skin of a destination, looking for that more authentic experience, and spending money perhaps that they haven't even got yet. Booking things on credit to pay for that holiday. There's a lot of talk out there in the academic world and the tourism world about people buying experiences rather than products. So buying a holiday is more important than buying a watch or a car or a material good. So we've gone through this full transition over the last 60, 70 years, and over that period of time, a couple of key trends. We've democratized travel, so more people have got access to travel. We've unbundled travel, so we've taken things out and you can select what you want rather than packaging it all together, and that will probably continue. We've widened travel to more parts of the world, and generally more variety of travel in terms of what we do, from budget to luxury and different accommodation styles and travel styles. And then niches of travel have developed. In fact, some niches like cruising have become more mainstream: river cruising, ocean cruising, adventure travel, expedition travel. So over the whole period of time, travel has evolved to get us to today. And yes, perhaps we've got to a point where there's too much travel, where there's over tourism, certainly in some destinations, too much travel, too many tourists. And as I said, some destinations are making some good progress in addressing that. So here we are today in 2021 at the tail end, hopefully, touch wood, of a pandemic, in a world that can't travel or is having some great difficulty in traveling. And I think there are, in my mind, there are four groups of people, four groups of travelers currently sitting out there. I'll just go through each one of them quickly in turn. One, you've got those who just don't want to go for whatever reason. They've just decided it's too hard. I just don't want to go. So that's fine. We'll put them off to the side. Where we're more interested in is group two, and they're the maybes. So they're open to travel, waiting to see what things look like, vaccine rules, PCR tests, and documentation. But they're open to travel. So as operators, we're very keen to have a go and try and recruit them. Group three, even more excited about. We've called them Generation Desperate. And we use the word desperate with the greatest affection, but they've been deprived of travel for so long, they will just book anything and go anywhere. Domestic, international, short or long haul, wherever it's easiest for them to get access to, get a flight. There's flights available, hotels are open, PCR tests is what you need, or vaccines what you need to get in. We came up at Contiki, with this word, this Generation Desperate term after a survey we did. We've all done surveys, all travel companies, in the last few months, and a couple of the highlights from that survey were almost 2/3 of our survey passengers, bear in mind that they're younger, 18 to 35, said they would book a holiday even if they had to quarantine for 2 weeks when they got back. So that's 2/3 of people would voluntarily go to quarantine just so they could get a holiday. Another 2/3, maybe the same ones, said they would book a mystery ticket. They didn't care where they went to. They just wanted to go somewhere. And our sister company, Uniworld, has just sold two mystery river cruises in 24 hours, sold out. People don't know where they're going. They don't even know which continent of the world they're going to, but they sold out. So there's just this desperation, for want of a better word, for people to go on holiday. The fourth group, final group, is Generation Cashed Up, meaning they've got lots of money, they've got lots of disposable income, they haven't been able to spend it on holidays for 18 months, and they're ready to go. So they're now splashing out on holidays, especially at the luxury end of the market. Luxury river cruising again. My friends at Uniworld, our sister brand, they're buying top suites, they're buying long cruises, and they're buying far out to 22 and to 2023. So we're sitting now here, the tail end of the pandemic, with these four groups, and we'll discount the ones that don't want to go. So we've got three groups: the desperate, the cashed up, and the maybes, and they're the ones that we're really interested in getting to travel again. And I think the next 120 days, or 3-4 months, are going to be pretty messy as those three groups navigate and try and find trips, find holidays that they want. So what do they want? What do they want? Where do they want to go? How do they want to book it? That's what I've been kind of thinking about when I got the question for today. So I've made a very long list, and I'm just going to talk about 8 if we've got time. 8 trends, 8 travel preference trends or themes that I think are going to become important and critical over the next 120 days, but beyond that in the long term into the future. So let's go through the 8. Number 1, and this is about how customers are going to book. I'm going to talk about a few about how customers will book holidays. Number 1, and this is something we're really obsessed with at Contiki, is that particularly because of COVID, travel customers are more tech savvy than they've ever been before. As I said, they've been stuck in this virtual world for, as we all have, for 18 months. And so people's ability to research, book, or both, research and book their holiday online is at an all-time high. Now, whether they book directly with the tour operator or through a travel agent, and the majority will still book through travel agents, and we'll talk about that in a moment. They're coming to the holiday discussion with much more information than they had before. They've got their preferences in mind. They know more than they did before. And this online space, this tech-savvy online space, it's just an unavoidable reality of today, whether we like it or not. We kind of like it at Contiki because that's where our guests, particularly 18 to 35-year-olds, are transacting and living their lives today. So we just got to be ready for that. Whether you're an agent, an operator, whatever you are, you've got to be ready for that. You've got to have a good website, up to date, easy to use. And I hasten to add, it's got to be good on mobile. 70% of our traffic to the Contiki website comes through mobile, not through the desktop version. So it's got to look good on mobile. It's got to work. And the other thing I'd just say before we move on to number 2 is you've got to be open more than before. So we've got a 24-hour, 7 days a week call center because people want to transact outside of conventional, normal times of business. Especially, again, the youth, 18 to 35-year-olds in our brand, they want to book in the evening, they want to book at weekends, and they want an instantaneous answer. If they don't get it, they'll go elsewhere. So tech savvy is going to drive a lot more preference and behavior going forward. That's number 1, big one. Number 2, I'll move through these much quicker. People will still book with travel agents. Absolutely. The travel agent is not dead. COVID has shown us the value of travel. It's shown consumers the value of travel agents. And I'm in no doubt that travel agents will continue to book holidays. Some will book direct. The majority will continue to book travel agents for the foreseeable future. Ultimately, it's a customer preference, and we're just open to business to both channels, whichever way the consumer wants to transact with us. Number 3, also related to how they book. Travelers are looking for more flexible booking conditions because it's never been better to book a holiday right now, right? In terms of flexibility, in terms of cancellations and changes policies. You know, we've ripped up the rule book. All of us have. Tour operators, cruise lines, car hire companies, airlines, what have you. We've all become more flexible, and I think that's going to continue. And certain people are going to be looking for more flexibility. Will we be as flexible today, in the future, as we are today? Can't guarantee that, but I think flexibility in some shape or form will stick around. That's number 3. So number 4, and Bruce touched upon this, and it's absolutely spot on. It's this meaningful travel and authenticity. Actually, authenticity, the authentic word we use a lot. We bandy that around a lot in the industry, but that realness of travel experience is becoming so much more important, especially more than the silent generation in the 50s and 60s. This is going to manifest itself in a lot of ways. A couple of examples, just that mix of, for example, the marquee sites and destinations versus off the beaten track. So take Paris, for example. We're still going to give you the Eiffel Tower, especially with our guests. It's what they want to go and see, you know, first trip to Europe and so on. But we're also going to take you to in the early hours of the morning to like behind the scenes access to patisserie, so making the breads and the pastries in Paris that are famous. So it's that mix of famous stuff and behind the scenes stuff, that more authentic, real experience that gets you in contact with people. And I think we'll also see more slower travel, more in-depth experiences, staying in a destination for longer. The cruise lines have done it, staying late into the evening for dinner in port, and I think the rest of the industry is going to do that as well. Number 5, where are they going to go? Where are people going to go to? What will preferences change? I don't think so in the long term. As I said earlier, people are kind of desperate and looking for anywhere they can go to now. But in the long term, I don't think people are going to go to different places as they were before the pandemic. I think within 18 months, that will be back to more or less normal, whatever normal is. Number 6, who they're going to go with. I'm biased, of course. I work for a group travel company, but you know, the isolation of the pandemic has made us want to be together so much more. So I think group travel is going to have a renaissance. It's going to be stronger than ever and be more relevant than it was pre-pandemic. In our survey, 97% of our respondents said they wanted to travel in a group. So we're taking that as gospel, and we'll continue to offer great group experiences, big and small. The last 2 relate to people's preferences in terms of which company they want to book with, which as the provider of the holiday. And so number 7 is, I think people will naturally transact and gravitate towards the companies that did well during COVID or performed well during COVID in terms of their responsiveness, their caring, and their engaging nature during COVID. So did they look after you during COVID? Then I will go back and book with them again, travel with them again. And then number 8, finally, the big S word, sustainability. Increasingly, we're going to find that guests, customers, travelers, whatever we call them, are going to prioritize and vote with their feet to companies that have strong sustainability credentials. And that means having targets, being transparent and reporting on them, and delivering and putting your money where your mouth is. So it's very easy to say we're a sustainable company, but actually putting your money where your mouth is very different. At Contiki, we just announced we're going carbon neutral in 2022. It's a major step for us. It's huge, but we're going to be open and transparent about that, and that's the first step to becoming carbon zero. So they're my 8 ideas about themes about what I think customers' preferences will look like in the next couple of months, couple of years. Lots of things I couldn't cover, but I hope it's given you a flavour of the time ahead. The next couple of months are a bit messy, but after that, the future's bright, and I'm very optimistic.
Well, each of those 8 deserves a panel on its own. You know, I've actually taken notes, and I'm going to be taking those 8 topics through the next panels that I will be leading through. So thank you very much for the good ideas, and I would say we're all going to get an answer on that during the next couple of months. The one that you mentioned, the one on sustainability, or probably sustainability in general, will play a big role, and I think we're going to be thinking about different things so far than we have so far. Thank you very much, Adam. It's been a pleasure having you with us and sharing these thoughts.
Thank
and
you.
I hope you do